Hi, I'm Gordy Gundaker. Welcome to the Dirt Parlor podcast.
Hi, I'm Don Martin. Welcome to the Dirt Parlor. And this thing is big. Welcome to this week's Dirt Parlor episode. Joined by my wonderful partner, Mr. Gordy Gundaker. And before we get into our podcast, first thing we want to do is thank our wonderful partners. I want to start out by thanking Steve Martin at Nutrient Hag and Jeff Hoker of Hoker Trucking, Skinny, naturally an official Longhorn dealer, and Reed Millard, Millard Family Chapels, our boy Bo Popejoy at Hot Rod Septic and Popejoy Plumbing, and of course Gord's company, Checker Customs, who was very busy besides racing, taking care of customers last week during the event, and we just got in actually talking about the fact that going right into it, you're busy already printing stuff again outside the racing life.
No, it was a great weekend for all of our customers there at the event, and we had a bunch of reorders coming in yesterday and into today, so it's cool to see. Obviously, there's so much merchandise moved throughout those 3 days there at the Dome, and it's always great for any of our customers to be needing more of it as soon as the weekend's over. So, stopping by a bunch of different booths that had our stuff, and it was really cool to see, and it's cool for me, outside of just doing my own stuff, but helping out other customers and helping them sell their stuff, and really just continuing to help them and continue to grow our company and get a bigger footprint inside the racing community.
Well, one of the biggest things too is I wanted to chat about you. Not only folks, if you're watching this at home. And I'm sure if you had a chance to check out the podcast last week, you're probably looking at both of us and smiling and grinning. We had a hell of a show last week, and this week is just the two of us after all those clowns we had to be with last week. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. But Gordy, he wears a lot of hats, and for that week, your family's involved with the construction of the racetrack. You guys are wrapping cars and getting merch ready, printing merch, and kind of assess a little bit. Is it kind of a little bit overwhelming at times?
Yeah, this year was the first year that we actually expanded my personal booth to a bigger booth this year to accommodate some customers. We had both me and Trevor in our booths. We had Chris Simpson, Trev Jacoby, Benji Hicks, Casey Burdett, Derek Fetter, Patrick Daniel. We had quite a few in our booth, and that was an undertaking in itself, while also trying to produce merchandise, and you're trying to get ready, you're trying to race, you're trying to make sure your customers are taken care of, and there's a lot happening. Especially as soon as those doors open on Wednesday, where you start setting these booths up and everything else, it's just a lot. And I learned a lot. I felt like this past weekend of how to be better prepared for next year, but at the same time, it's just part of the gig. And Wednesday we're doing our podcast. I got my girls setting up our booth, and Trevor and Robert and Aiden are up there moving boxes up and down. And it's the same for anybody that's there. It's just also the fact that my business is in town. We're right there. It just piles on. And for us, with the racing stuff, that's great, but we have other customers as well that we're trying to also maintain and take care of. So it's that's what I just said. Yesterday, I loved the event, but God, I was glad it was over. It was good to just take a breather yesterday for a little bit and enjoy the kind of recap of the weekend and sit down on the couch and watch some football.
Well, the other thing is too, Gordy failed to mention something, but I understand he also promoted a wet T-shirt contest. Fortunately, folks, I wasn't even invited. I had to find out from a sponsor. They couldn't believe I wasn't there. I was like, I knew nothing of it, showing me the flyer and everything else. So I saw the clips. It looked like it was a good time.
Yeah. It's I have a lot of fun. Abby that puts that on. Last year. That was the first year of it, and she had asked me to help in some ways, and then ultimately asked me to MC the event, which I think if anybody knows me, they know I don't mind getting up there and having some fun. And this year it was pretty cool. There was a lot of my buddies come over, racers, and then obviously the fans. Man, this place was packed. I mean, to the gills. It was packed, and it's really fun to do that. I think that's one of the things about the Dome that is exciting is the fan interaction, but especially that night. Listen, I'm up on the mic. We're drinking a little bit. We're hanging out, and I'm kind of messing with some of the fans.
This is Thursday, by the way, folks.
Friday.
Was it Friday?
Friday
okay,
night.
Friday
okay. Night. And so, it just, I don't know. It's a good time, and you're over there just having fun and drinking with the fans and having some laughs. We had a couple guys. I think a lot of it got put on social media. No, we got JD on stage. We had Hoffman on stage. Corey and Tyler Bragg were up there with us. So it was. It was a lot of fun, man. And it just, I think it's cool for the fans to get that interaction with us. They don't really get to see us in that light all the time either. It's one of the things, like I said, about the Dome is you're able to interact with your favorite drivers more. We were all out at the PBR the one night, and the fans are stopping you and saying hi and, hey, can I buy you a beer and whatnot? So it's just really cool. And you don't get that many of us race car drivers all stuffed in one area very often. So to get to do that, I enjoy it. And I saw the flyers getting passed around and hanging out, and everybody's coming up going, oh, you going to the party Friday night? We'll be there. I can't wait. And so that's something that the fans like to talk about, but it's a cool deal. And I'm sure we'll be back there next year.
I think what's really exciting too, the fact that you were not only you were doing that in trying to run a part, but watching. The one thing about our podcast is we're getting to see a lot of different sides of the different race car drivers, and I've had more people comment to me how you could just tell that JD's personality came out last week, and I think the fans are really they're enjoying that aspect. They're seeing different sides of these guys, and in going into it, hearing how. I really enjoyed hearing like Trevor, you're going to drive this way, you're going to drive this way, you're going to drive this way, putting everybody kind of on the spot last week. You had to be, I know we were laughing our ass off.
Oh man, absolutely.
I missed some conversations last week of the podcast because I was laughing at other things. And the other thing about is when we had everybody, folks, around the circle a little bit, it's like you could make eye contact with each other without even them guys wanting to say anything, and you almost wanted to burst out in tears from laughing just by looking at some of these guys. They were like chanting, like chopping at the bit to get after like a couple of these guys, especially when it got to Ashton and JD on a couple of times.
That poor Ashton, they chewed him up and spit him out a little bit, I felt like. And you know what?
But Ashton can handle it, man. He's a big boy.
Yep, he can.
He loves
it. And it was really fun to roundtable with those guys in that way. I felt like we veered onto so many different topics, so many different things that, really we want to talk about. That's why we have the Dirt Parlor, and that's what it's for. And I think in those moments, too, you get all those guys together. Listen, we're all comfortable sitting there together, and you feel like you're just kind of buddy talking. You forget there's a camera there, and then the real things you want to talk about start coming out. And, having, the input from Nick about American racers and the Hoosiers, and, you get JD talking about it, and Feger, and guys that have experience on these things. That's what the conversations I think the fans at home want to hear, because don't get me wrong, they don't know. They're not racing these cars going up and down the road, so they don't understand why we bitch about this thing or why we bitch about that. But when we give more insight into it, then they get a real view of, maybe why we don't like that or why we want to do it this way. So it's really neat. Our boy Sheppy didn't show up. Sheppy was supposed to be on the show, and he stopped by Thursday and was like, I'm sorry, I'll be on the show at some point. I said, yeah. I said, I called you 3 times, and he said, I know. He said, you understand how it goes. And I had to bust his balls a little bit. I said, yeah, I know. So you didn't answer. I didn't get a fuck you, a no thank you, whatever it was. So, that was, it was epic, dude. We were in the infield of the Dome.
Listen, we'd still be there if you guys did not run out of beer. I'm telling you, no one was leaving. We had to stop one time, folks, for a piss break. Everybody was about ready to die. Everybody, I think, was afraid to make the, the first one to say to get up to finally do it, and then it was like
gone.
But
I'll tell you what, too. I don't think people realize, that white cooler that was in the middle there was plumb full when we started. Plumb full, and there was not one left when we left. There was not a drink in there when we left and got out of there. So, it was just like I said, it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait. We already had some great ideas as soon as we were done on Wednesday night for next year. So I think that one's going to be even bigger and better. And like we talked about, though, I think that podcast right there culminates what we have accomplished this year.
Absolutely.
And the things that we've been fortunate to do, thanks to our great partners who allow us to do this. But the conversations that we get to have that I just don't think they've been had anywhere else.
And everyone's so comfortable. They know how we are. I went into that thing. I had some notes there, and I didn't even, the agenda was thrown right out the window. And that's what we wanted. Just to get it. I keep thinking there's a few things that were said. I was laughing. And I even had a few friends like, when Turbo's like, are we going to see the Mary Bad with 2 kids, or am I going to see Vintage Bad this week?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It was, I got to see a side of Shannon Bab last week that, man, I'll tell you what, it was wonderful. And then, folks, Gordy and JD and Feger and Bab and Nick also, they really did something cool too. You guys did that nice little raffle, and I'm sure you're going to do it again next year.
Yeah.
Where the fans got to go out and walk with the drivers for driver intros, be a part of the show.
Yeah. No, it was a really cool deal. That was JD's idea from the get go. And it was awesome. And to include the fans, in on that weekend is for the fans. Listen, we go there to race. That is an event. It's an entertainment show. And we want the fans to be a part of what we're doing just as much as anything else. And I thought it was a great way to give back to them, to kind of include them in on things. And also the fact that it wasn't just the driver intro. We gave away a lot of stuff. I know the guy that won my grand prize. He messaged me yesterday on Facebook and just said, hey, thanks for having that and allowing us to enter into a raffle. They were locals. They're from St. Louis that won it. They got a die-cast car and a hoodie and a hat and a shirt and all these things. And, we appreciate the fans more than anything, because without them coming to all these races, them buying our merchandise, all of these things, none of it would be possible. They keep the racetracks alive by going to races, and we're just super thankful for all of them. And any way we can give back, we want to. And I'm sure we'll do something next year. I would imagine it'll probably be a little bit different, and I'm sure it'll come out, sooner than we did it this year. JD was, reluctant on wanting to do it because he was like, well, I don't know if we get this out there too early, is everybody going to try to copy us or what, so, but I think after doing it this year, we definitely will do something again next year and make it bigger and better.
And, and talk about a little bit about, naturally, it wasn't the week of racing that you desire for yourself. We all know that. I know what kind of effort you put into that deal. You can bullshit me all you want to, but the bottom line is that you're a race car driver, and I know that was a big stinger.
Yeah.
In you, and it just looked like qualifying just kind of put you behind the 8 ball from the beginning.
Yeah, I just this was the first year that really, if you didn't rip the deck out in qualifying, you couldn't be fast. And when we hot lap Friday, I just did not feel great. I know the racetrack's been ever changing the last couple of years. I felt like I've had a pretty good package, and when we went out for hot laps, even, I just didn't feel that great. And so we came back in, made some changes for qualifying. Still just didn't have the speed we needed, and ultimately we start, I don't even know what I started, my heat race 8th, I think is what it was, and my heat race was loaded up, and so I got to 6th at least. Poor Ryan Unzicker, he's one of my buddies, and we're racing for 6th, and you got to run 6th or better just to make the B main, and he had just kind of left me room off of 2, and I was underneath him, and he went to chop down, and I kind of just center punched him and moved him just so I could make sure I ran a B main, because I think I would have been tail between my legs had I not even got to that point. So, yeah, it's hard, Listen, this year was easily the toughest field.
Absolutely.
By far. You looked at all of the heat races, all of the qualifier items on Saturday, the B mains, the last chance race. There's a lot of really, really, really good race cars that did not make this race. And what people don't understand is although this is a race where, the top equipment can get you somewhere, the regional equipment, all those other stuff, maybe the guys that aren't spending the amount of money that the national touring guys are, have just as much of an opportunity at this event. So, normally you go to a race and about 10 guys have a shot. This weekend, there's 60 guys that have a shot. So, I kind of just kept battling all weekend. My B main on Saturday, I started 5th and I run 3rd, and me and Will Harrington got to kind of throwing sliders and going back, and that kind of let Hocevar get away, so didn't have a chance to even get to him. And then the last chance race, I went in there into 1 and just bombed right into a hole and took a bucking bull ride for a minute, and by the time I come off 2, I was running 8th, and I really just let everybody go, and I was watching the big board hoping Trevor was going to win that race, and that's really all I was doing. Once I realized I didn't have a shot, I just was hoping for him that he was going to get in, so I just kind of woed her down and figured, I'll just save the equipment and not destroy this thing, and to watch him experience what that feels like. He was super emotional when he came in. He had tears in his eyes. He sat in his car for a minute and which is rightfully so, because it hits home. And that race is fucking hard. Home. It's hard, and for him, that's a big deal. He's been trying for 5 years just to make that race. He's been close. And to do it in the fashion he did, outrunning Simpson and Devin Moran and, all these guys, Donald McIntosh is in that race. There's a lot of really, really good talent, and Trevor, truly, he spanked their ass in that last chance deal. So it was really cool. I know people were kind of giving him some guff for cussing and carrying on after, but listen, if you've never sat in that moment and been part of that, tried to be part of that event and not made it, or really any type of racing, you don't understand the emotions that are going through your body. You can't help it. It's just whatever's coming to your mind, and there's no filter, because whatever you're thinking, your mouth's already talking. You don't have time to think about what you're saying. And, listen, his Woody Bogler Trucking, Tracy, and his entire staff was in our suite on Saturday night. There was 10 of them there, I believe, that was part of it. So for them to be there, for him to watch that, it was a huge moment in his career. Heck, he's still young. He'll be 23 here in a couple of weeks. And, I've always said, listen, he's going to be a really, really good race car driver, and he works hard. And so to kind of get to see him have that moment was really cool for me as a big brother. How we just talked about this with Overton. You cheer for them harder than you cheer for yourself. So I was super proud of him. Blake Anderson, actually, as Trevor went to go for his interview, was kind of looking at me to see if I was going to pull down there. But I kind of wanted him just to have his own moment.
Good for you.
And so I think it would have been fun to go down there, because I don't know what I would have done. I probably would have just shook the shit out of him. But it was really cool to see that, and from my mom and dad, and just all those things. So,
sure.
It wasn't our weekend. Listen, it's racing and shit happens, and you go on. And it was great to have a lot of my sponsors there. That's really for me. I want to be in the show on Saturday night, because I want to make sure they're promoted the way they deserve to be, and it's just the way it goes. And all you can do is get ready next year to go back out there, and I'm just going to beat the fence down in qualifying and put myself in a better spot from the start of the weekend.
I know that when I got there on Thursday, and the first thing, naturally Wednesday was the first thing I realized when we did the podcast. I couldn't get over the fact of, when you're in the middle of that racetrack, I've naturally being in the stands, but actually being on ground level with the dirt track in the middle, I was amazed at how big it was, because on television gives it no justice. It looks really small on television, but when you get down there, you're like, wow, this thing. And the way it had the gradual banking going up this year, I thought the racing was really good. It was fierce. I've never seen more. I thought when you guys were laughing about it the other night, talking about who's going to blow the deck out of it, I think everybody had to be going, I know we talked about it, but I didn't expect that many to be done. But everybody was going for it. That was for sure.
If your spoiler was not knocked off at one point in this weekend, you were not trying hard enough. I promise. That is just the truth, because you had to. That was the way that it worked out this weekend. And I mean, the amount of shit that was tore up in qualifying alone was impressive. Hot laps and qualifying, which, real quick, that's the other thing. Some of these guys that destroy these fucking things in hot laps, I wish I knew what was going through their minds, because I understand maybe they haven't been there for the first time or whatever it is, but you don't even give yourself a chance at qualifying if you go back after hot laps, then everything's hanging off of it. So it's but I mean,
I never expected Odd Hoffman like that. When that thing was like, I mean, it was junk.
Yeah, go ahead. I think JD said, you fucked up pretty good when you knocked the left front A post off when you hit with the right rear. So, yeah, and then I tell you what, though, I mean, he starts 10th in his heat race and runs second.
What a rebound.
And we talked about it Wednesday there. Listen, the thing you have to have at the Dome is luck. That is one of the biggest things, because if you get behind, something has to go your way for you to make it work, and I don't know if a lot of people will call that his heat race. The guys that were running third, fourth, and fifth all tangle together, spin out. Nick misses it. He restarts in third and then got by Trevor on Thursday night. And so that's how the Dome operates, right? Like those things have to fall your way, especially if you put yourself in a bad spot. And clearly Nick did, and, ends up makes a great weekend out of it. And, you look at a guy like Marler, not rebounding from that. Garrett Alverson, who had a great year.
It's tough to fucking rebound when your fuel cell is ripped out and almost heading into fourth or fifth row of the grandstands.
Yes. And so...
about, he had a name right, Maximum Destruction.
Oh, yeah. No, it was destroyed.
He lived up to it.
Yeah. So it was crazy, the amount of stuff. I think Cody summarized it best on Saturday in our drivers meeting. He said Thursday was Tiger Woods playing a round of golf. Friday was John Daly. And that to me made the most sense out of anything I'd heard.
True.
And
never thought of it that way.
It was, Friday night was absolute chaos. And it was entertainment, man. It was wild. It was fights and people mad, and
they took that shit to the streets.
Yeah,
I saw some of the videos, man. I know one thing. There's some strong security guards in St. Louis. They've seen some shit, because I didn't see one security guard lose a fight. I don't know about you. I didn't see any of them lose.
No, they don't lose normally.
Might want to take note of that.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, I mean, ultimately it was wild, eventful weekend. Everything that the Dome normally brings, it brought it yet again. It didn't. There was not short on excitement and crazy things happening. I think I felt like as a whole, the racing itself was better through and throughout. And I think Cody and Emma's idea of the draft that they did worked to perfection. And it's nothing against guys that only showed up to the Dome to race one time a year, but unfortunately, I don't think that event needs those guys. I think that event has become such a marquee crown jewel in my mind that if it's going to be an invite only, it should be an invite of the best guys who are going to put on the best show. They didn't have nobody went through the fence this year. Nobody, there was a few fence repair deals, but I felt like their staff really knocked them out.
I thought they did a great job.
There was never a break more than 30, 20, maybe 30 minutes at the most. And that's pretty impressive. I think, last year on Friday night, we had 2 delays that were over an hour. They were big crashes, mind you, but, and we didn't really, I think we only flipped one car this weekend, was maybe 2, but I think
Hess took a tough one.
He took a big ride, and they were pushing hard. And that's what Saturday does to you, though.
And, it was just, the other thing you talk about a little bit about the fact, Bobby, of course, wins his third one. Not a secret. Bobby's been strong all year. I mean, he's been the best, in my opinion. had the best season in dirt late model racing. You look at, racking up 30 wins on national tours. It's pretty impressive on both series. Winning down south, winning majors. Give it to him, man. And you got to take, and RTJ, naturally we saw the reunion with him and Burrows this weekend. And let me tell you what, that move that RTJ made in the modified for the lead was one of the strongest passes. He is amazing. That's all I'm going to say. RTJ, if you're listening, and I'm sure you are, that modified pass for the lead, that was just badass.
Yeah. On American Racers.
Yeah.
Yep. On American Racers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, RT is a mod guy at heart. That's where he was born and bred, and he proved again, why he's such a wheel. You run second, and the late model, you win the mod stuff. So, yeah, it's Bobby was. Listen, you start him first at that event. Good luck.
He wasn't crying about not having the one pulling the one.
But yeah, it was. It's tough to beat him in general. If he's just in the race, it's tough to beat him if he starts on the pole. And he was really, really good. And the guys that were racing for second through fifth were really getting after each other, and that makes it even harder. So, but it was I felt like the feature track, I almost wish they would have left it a little bit slower, so that guys would have really got up towards the fence more. But I also understand you got 40 laps, and you want to make sure the guys get a racetrack. Even if it is bucking bulls and all this other stuff, that's the way it needs to be, and that's what generates the best product for the race fans. But I felt like that Friday night feature really, really was good because guys were having to get all the way up against the fence. It left the middle and the bottom open. I didn't see as much of that the other night, but like I said, that's just part of it. That's the way it goes.
Hudson O'Neal has had some tough luck there.
Yeah, he cannot get any luck at that deal.
He's not going to stop coming, though. He's not going to stop coming. He's eventually, luck's going to is going to be on his side. It can't continue to be this way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's that was it. I tell you what, and to shred a wheel the way he did, that's a big hit, and it doesn't. If you watch the replay, it looks hard. Don't get me wrong, but ladies and gentlemen at home, that hit was really hard. Getting sandwiched when you have nowhere else to go and the wall is to your right and you're all up against it anyways, and you get pancaked into it. The amount of shit that starts shredding in them race cars, it happens in a hurry. And
Bronson's nosedive.
Yes, yeah,
that was a hard hit.
I wouldn't want to felt that one. It's a good thing he's got a strong neck. I'll give him that one.
He has no neck.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's strong. That's my point. And so. Yeah, it's he hit a ton. Even when you're not going that fast, to go from however fast you're going to a dead stop is not fun. So, I think it hurt that race car pretty good too when he hit. So, yeah, it was wild. I don't know. I understand it's also the dome, and you're going for it. I can promise you, if I would not be the one sitting in the race car having to watch Kyle Bronson walk down the racetrack pissed off at me.
No, I agree with you 100%. And then there were so many wraps last week, and there were so many gorgeous cars and before the carnage. And did you have a favorite wrap? Were there a couple of them that stuck out to you?
I'll tell you what, I thought Sheppy's looked really good.
It did.
I really liked that car. Sheppy's. I thought the neon stuff on it looked awesome. I was a big fan of Dan Ebert's Dick Trickle car. I thought that was cool, but I think Feger's took the cake for me.
I love Jason's.
Yeah,
I agree with that. In the rocket throwback, with Juice
TPO's deal,
it was really nice. And I thought Overton's Budweiser car was about as clean as it gets, man. It was pretty impressive. There were so many. That's the big thing about it. You could walk through that pit area on Thursday, and it was a custom auto show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
Not on Saturday.
No. You bet. If you're going to take some pictures, you want to get there early while they're unloaded.
Yes.
You know. So
I think it's cool that they're doing that. You know, a lot of guys are getting into bringing good looking wraps for the dome, and
I don't see it changing. Do you?
No.
I guarantee all you guys.
We'll still.
We
do
talk
it
about driver ceremonies, opening ceremonies. The drivers are all gun up about that, and now it's gotten into the wrap. You know, the wrap too with it. So it's like one or the other.
Yeah. Well, driver intros this year, they announced it was $500 for the best introduction. There was a best appearing car award. I don't know what it paid, but yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of things inside there that people don't know about, contingency awards and different stuff. I know Velocity Suits, the first guy that didn't make it out of the last chance, got a free custom suit. I think Chris Simpson ended up winning that. So that's really cool. Hellraiser Jacks was given a jack away to each Gateway Dirt National winner on Saturday night. You know, there's a lot of things. They gave away Tire Demon. I think Tim is his name with Tire Demon. They actually gave one away in the drivers' meeting on Saturday. We're sitting there, and Cody said, "Reach under your seat if there's a koozie there. You won this full setup." And I don't know who won it, but yeah, they did. They gave that away right there. So, you know, there's a lot of really neat things that go on in that event outside of just what the fans even see. And it's, you know, like I said, it just continues to grow and captivate more and more people. You know, I heard some stuff from Cody that I'm not going to put out there, but stuff for next year that's already going to be bigger and better, that I think the fans are really, really going to enjoy. And really it's just going to make this place continue to grow as a whole from Thursday on. So it's, you know, they keep making sure they're helping out everybody, the fans, the racers, all this stuff. So it was crazy to see how many people were, you know, in that
picture where they showed when everybody was going into the dome and they opened up the gates of front, that picture, it was like when the Rams were playing with Kurt Warner. That's what it looked like.
I know on Thursday at about 5:00, I had walked back out to the credential area to drop something off, and there were thousands of people standing there waiting that were still trying to get in the dome, and I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, holy shit, you know, and that was just on Thursday. And so to see how many people really are in there come Saturday night, you know, it's just so cool, and all the hard work that goes into that event to see it all, you know, come together, you know, for the A-mains and the pyrotechnics and the driver intros and the fans going crazy doing the wave and whatnot. Yeah, it's it's easily, like I said, it's a one-on-one event. It's a top 3 event of the entire year.
Well, I got a feeling. The one thing that I thought Nick Hoffman had a great idea for the draft when he said the 2 preliminary night winners they're the ones that pick the teams, because of course they're not going to pick the guys they want to race with, and yet going back and forth. So you would save all the heavy hitters at the bottom before they win. I think that would be really cool to see something like that. That would keep everybody in their seats at home if they started.
I agree, because it would be wild on on how some of those picks went.
Because you watch Bobby, you know, your friends, how you going to do it, you know,
right.
I'm going to take Unzicker because he's a great friend of mine.
Right.
No, he won't rub me over.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
It would be interesting, to say the least. You know, I don't know so it would have been, who won Thursday night? Bobby won Thursday night.
Yep. And then RTJ, right? Won Thursday, right? Won Friday. Yeah. So,
yeah, right.
Yeah. And Bab had a tough week. Hated to see that. He was kind of which it's going to happen when you go to the dome. It's going to happen. I know the one thing that I'm excited about next year is the fact of what we accomplished with our podcast. I would imagine that next year, if anybody that was on the show is definitely coming back, including Clyde. And it was something I'll cherish for the rest of my life, being a part of the first one down there with everyone else. And I can't thank all the drivers enough for showing up and everybody just relaxing and being their true selves. It was just awesome, and really looking forward to it. And leaving with that now, let's go right into, we got PRI this week, and we both know usually this is the event where you hear a lot of guys where they're going, especially now. I want to get your thoughts on this too, because now with the World of Outlaw late model race in February going against Lucas Oil, we've never had that before. And where guys normally leave Speedweeks before they make some decisions will be made this year before they even get to Florida.
Yep. Yeah. I personally think it's really good. Listen, I've been down to Speedweeks, a few times, twice when I was running the Outlaw Tour. When you go down there and 18 guys are showed up or signed up to go be a part of this season, or 20 guys, or however it is, if you come out of there at any point, if you got Lucas guy or some guys that are looking at maybe doing both, and they're popping in there and they're getting spots, well, they still give provisionals out while you're down there, and they give emergencies out, and they start doing them by them points. They go off them January points when they run the Sunshine stuff. It can ultimately end up taking a guy who really wanted to do that full tour, and him going, well, never mind, I don't even have a shot at being in the points battle here. Why would I stay? And also, it gives some other guys a chance to go down there and make some money, because when you go to Volusia and there's 70 late models there,
the best of the best.
Good luck, because cracking the top 10 is hard. Making the race is hard. And so, I think it just gives guys a better opportunity for it. Now, I understand also we want the fans to be able to see the best guys all together all the time, but those events mean just as much at the end of the year as the last race that Charlotte does for the Outlaw guys, whatever with the Lucas stuff. Those first few events can make or break your entire season if you're all the way behind. And so I think
we've seen a lot of championships won in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, look at how close some of these have come down to, right? You look at high limit stuff, right? That their points battle was as tight as it could be throughout the entire year. Right now, Lucas has the playoff format, but when they're doing the top 8 and the top 12 breakdowns and stuff, those come down to 10 points, 20 points, and that all starts, at the very beginning of the year. And, you don't want to be digging yourself out of a hole the whole time. So, look at Squirrel last year, right? Squirrel goes down there and just gets tore up, gets a car caught on fire and whatever else. And, it kind of really ruined his full season, because there's no way to dig yourself out of those holes if you get that far into them. So, I think it's good. I think you might see more guys go down and run Speedweeks, because they know that, hey, on a couple of these dates, there's not going to be 80 race cars. There's going to be 40. Makes it more enticing to want to go and do it. I looked at the possibility of maybe going back down there for Volusia for Speedweeks. I don't know if we'll do that or not, but it's something I looked at doing, just because you might not have as many guys going to all those events.
And going back to PRI, like I said, we see a lot of driver announcements. We're still waiting for some major announcements to come out. We still don't know what's, we have ideas. I have a really good idea where I think Sheldon Haudenschild's going, but it hasn't been official yet. Same way with Donnie. And the other thing is, naturally, last week, there were a couple of surprises. I really felt like I did not expect to see Kerry Matson go on the high limit tour. I thought they were on the Outlaw deal. I thought it was especially knowing that Matson has all the history at Knoxville that he has, and there's like 7 World of Outlaw shows at Knoxville this year. So I just was kind of like putting, okay, guy runs Knoxville, car's been on the Outlaw tour, Matson goes into it doing. Matson kind of really blew me away by doing it, and then I thought, because of some of this, looks like just about everybody on high limits coming back. Naturally, we lose Brad to retirement, but he's still going to run naturally the big majors. But so many guys stepped up on high limit that that don't get me wrong. I mean, you can't replace Brad Sweet. Okay, let's Understand that. You cannot replace a guy that has won, like 9 championships out of the last 10 years. I mean, it's just been insane what he's done. But at the same time, I thought when so many heavy hitters being on the high limit side, I thought a few of the guys, even like Davey Sams, I thought, this is a guy that could probably slide, because we both know, we've talked about this, the World of Outlaw point standings, like when you get through like 9 through 12, it's not the 9 through 12 that's high limit. Okay. So I thought like a Davey Sams, knowing all this come back, look at it and say, you know what, hey, a few of those guys that go high limit, I'm going to go squeeze over, look at the Outlaw deal a little bit. What does Sams announce? Going high limit. So talk a little bit about, what do you what's your gut feeling going on this week?
Yeah, I don't know. It's, I feel like a lot of these announcements have been on the other side of the way that, a normal person would be thinking they'd be doing. And so, obviously people really enjoy what Kyle and Brad have built over there and that charter system they have and
it's
and
working
that stuff, right? That the team owners are more involved on that side of it there because of this charter situation, right? You look at what happened with Reitzel this year. They get to stay up there in owners' points and all of these things, which, don't get me wrong, that happens on the Outlaw side as well, but I think that's just more enticing to some of these team owners at the end of the day, that charter system is. But I also look at it and I don't know, I'm telling you that 2-car scares a lot of people away on the Outlaw Tour. I think that's one of the things. I'm not saying there's not a guy like that on the High Limit Tour that just runs them off, but I don't know how many people want to race with gravel because you look at, I was at the Outlaw banquet.
Dude, he's a bad mofo.
And listening to the amount of top 5s and top 10s and quick times and heat race wins, it's like, holy shit,
The guy, it doesn't matter. The pill draw does not affect his qualifying. He's one of the few guys, he could draw dead last and he's still going to run in the top 2 or 3 in qualifying. He's an amazing qualifier.
Yeah. And so I don't know, I think it'll be interesting to see, like I said, we still have, whatever Sheldon's going to do. You still got to hear whatever, Donnie's doing. I just saw that Skylar G got removed from the 99 ride. I did see that. So somebody's going to be stepping into that seat. There's still a few things out there that are undecided that we don't know what's going on yet.
Would you be shocked to see, not mentioning a name, I'm not putting you on the spot here, but somebody in the top 3 or 4 in the World of Outlaw points making the switch?
Listen, at this time,
I'm hearing one, and
anything can happen. I don't put anything in stone no more because there's been too much switching back and forth. And listen, this is clearly the sprint car game is an unknown game right now. You do not know if your seat is safe. It's just
the guy said it on our show.
It's just
you heard what Carson Macedo said right on our show. This is a guy has double-digit wins every year in the JJR ride, and yet at the same time does not feel comfortable.
Right.
And I'm like, how can that be?
Right. Yeah.
And
you see it, and I think
that's why he jumped in why he was hurting. And he'll tell you wasn't healthy, but he was not giving up his seat.
No. And
by the way, congratulations on Carson.
Yeah.
From Gordy and I, getting married over the weekend.
Yeah.
Wonderful. She's beautiful. And we had you on the show. I'm proud of you. Can't wait to have you on the show again. I know Gordy and I think the world of you.
Yeah. But I think, I'm telling you that the TSR deal and Donnie, I think probably shook up a lot of people.
It still has people shaking up.
I think that was...
It's obvious. He's still not over it.
Right. And I think that really opened a lot of race car drivers' eyes. It's like, listen, you can win 10 championships, 11 Knoxville Nationals, and get fired, I guess. Obviously, listen, that deal was... Anybody who watches dirt racing, they've seen all the interviews with Donnie and Tony and all this stuff, and clearly there was a lot more... what people understood going on there, and that's really what ended up bringing it to a head. But if a guy like that can get let out of his ride, anybody can be fired. Just letting everybody know, like 100%, because that just does not happen. And so that tells you, listen, results are mandatory. Like you don't get 3-4 years anymore,
right?
To show what you can do. You get like a year, or you get half a season after the last guy got fired, and then you get a full year, and then you better hope you were producing by the time you get done there, because if not, they'll just can you and they'll go find another.
Well, you know what, and that, you know, talking about that benefits though a guy that's got a team that's been out there. If I'm driving a car and I've been with the same team for the last 3 or 4 years and all these ride shufflings going on, I'm kind of like seeing it, because I know the chemistry is not going to be there right off the bat and I'm going to take advantage of it, because I've been with my team. As long as I can keep my crew guys together for this, for this little bit, I think I feel pretty good about it, because I think there has to be chemistry, in these.
Yes. Well, and that's just the reality of it. You have to gel together. You're spending 3/4 of the year with these guys, going up and down the road, trying to win races. Your crew chief, you got to bond with him. That's my toughest deal. Me and my crew chief fight in the head all the time. So it's not that easy, The race car driver tells the crew chief he sucks, and the crew chief tells the race car driver he sucks. That just happens to be all in mine.
I love it when you tell the people, they're like, these fans yell at me and you don't understand. You cannot do anything to me that I already haven't done to myself.
I'm telling you, it's the truth. It is 100% the truth. But yeah, it's just, listen, this game is fucking hard. Okay. The racing is hard in general. If you took 20 race car drivers, gave them the all exact same equipment, gave them the best crew chiefs, and shoved them out there, 18 of them are coming back bitching. It's just the truth. And it's hard because we all drive differently, right? We're all doing different things. We want the race car to act in different ways. And so you're ever changing throughout the season. And if you're not gelling with your guys, you're mad about this, or let's say you have a malfunction, or God forbid, a part failure, or something falls off the race car that wasn't supposed to happen. And if things are already going bad, I can promise you they're going to go way worse when something like that happens, because somebody's getting out pissed, right? And then everybody's pointing fingers going every which way. And, it's hard. You're on the road. You're not with your families. It's 100 degrees in the summer. It feels like every damn day you're out there, and you're outside 10, 12, 14 hours. And then it's like, okay, well, we're done. Let's drive 6 hours to the next one. Any of these race car drivers will tell you that it's not easy. And when you constantly are seeing guys switch rides and land in new teams, like I'm very fortunate that I don't have to do that.
Right.
I feel like, I enjoy the fact that I know my ride's safe because hell, we pay for it. So it's like, I don't think that's what I have to worry about. Now KG has fired me on
right. We've talked about
60 occasions,
we've talked about that.
But usually, I get back into it. But it's just the truth that it's a very hard game right now. There's a lot of money on the line. There's way more investing that's ever been invested in this sport, and people want results. And if you're not able to give them those results, then you're just out. And I think sometimes we see moves happen, then we kind of go, I don't know about that. And then we see something, we're like, well, that was fucking stupid. Why are we firing this guy? Who else are we going to get? So, it's just, it's crazy. And I feel like there's a lot that's going to happen here now. We've only got like 3 weeks until we turn over to the first of the year. So I think all the announcements are going to start happening. I imagine we would see a lot this upcoming weekend at PRI. PRI is a lot different now than it used to be, but there's still a lot of people that attend this, attend the industry event, and a lot of great product people that are there showing off their new stuff. So it's the Lucas banquet is this weekend out there, and so there's still a lot happening. It's just a little bit different than how it used to be.
I'm going to put you on the spot here and get that camera on Gordy. Does Sheldon go into the 18 car? Yes or no? It's not. Is it a yes or a no, you think?
Listen.
Would you, if you were a gambling man, Is that where that's where I think he ends up?
I think that makes the most sense.
Yes. There you go.
I think,
are we right or are we probably wrong?
Right.
Probably 90%.
Yeah. I think that makes the most sense in my mind. It would be hard pressed for me.
They haven't hired anybody yet, right? And it kind of, we got a crew chief from the area,
There's
there's some things that line up, right?
Right. Yeah, and I think that's, obviously you could tell, at the end of the year, whenever that split happened with SJR and Sheldon, that they were already pretty positive about what they had set up. And
he knew. He knows.
Yeah,
he knew. He knows.
So they're just looking for the right moment to get it out there or whatever they're doing. And I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll cause some wavelengths, whatever he announces. Right. I mean, listen, Sheldon's a massive name,
dude. He's the fan favorite.
Yes,
he is.
Yes, and so I think it'll be interesting to see where that goes, and I'm sure we're going to get some more announcements about probably some new guys that are stepping onto the road.
That's what I'm excited about. I'm also excited about knowing what's going on in Pennsylvania. There's been a lot of talk with the new Pennsylvania Posse series and things like that. How's that going to work? Personally, I wouldn't change a thing out, but I wouldn't change a lot out there. The only thing that's frustrated me at times, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to speak for the people in Pennsylvania because I do not want to go to Eldora in July and get my ass whipped. But the big thing is like sometimes Lincoln, it seems like Lincoln and Port Royal have something going on. Mm-hmm. And some other tracks like they do it, but you know what? Port Royal always seems to make it work, and I don't care what anybody says. If there's one track in Pennsylvania I want to go, that's Port Royal's number one, right?
100%.
Watch a sprint cars bang the boards at Port Royal; it's about as good as it gets,
by far.
And but the Outlaw schedule, the World of Outlaws released their schedule, late models, and the sprint car deal. And it's pretty exciting, kind of what's going on. A lot of events coming in the St. Louis area. Peevely really got, World of Outlaw stuff. And then, of course, it seems like High Limit loves the state of Texas.
Yeah. They're motoring down there, and they like going down there. I think obviously it works out great because they go to Texas Motor Speedway while the NASCAR races there. And they do a good job with that. I think it's good to cross-brand, the NASCAR people. And, hell, you got Kyle, part of that. Bell comes and races it. Got Corey Day jumping in and out. It's what they should do to market themselves the best they can, and that's, I think, exactly why they do it the way they do. So, it'll be interesting to see, kind of what shakes out this week. I mean, I'm sure by Monday we're going to have.
And Gordy's going to be at the PRI this week. And so he'll have some pretty good news. I went last year. I'm not going this year, but the Dome, I think, took enough out of me. I mean, here you are. You're getting right back in the fold. You didn't go to PRI last year.
Correct. No, I haven't been since 23. I think was the last year that I did go. I might not even been then. I don't even know if I went that year, but yeah, I haven't gone. Usually it's tough because it's right around the Dome time,
right?
And so.
And a lot of vendors use the Dome as kind of their PRA show.
I know Weir's is going back. Weir's Machine has not been there for a few years. I know they were headed over there. They're going back this year. So, yeah, it'll be good. I'm going to go over just for Thursday, bounce around. I got a couple interviews I'm going to do and some different things and really pushing our podcast as well. We've got some exciting new stuff coming in that I think is going to be really cool for our fans and stuff we're going to get to announce hopefully as well in a few weeks. So, that transpires into 2026. So I'm excited to go and see some people and shake some hands and hang out and whatever. I'm going to roll over there Wednesday night. So I'm sure I'll get dinner with somebody and have some drinks and hang out Thursday.
And now we go into this little bit of it's going to be a little bit of a lull, naturally, till we get going, but not too much of a lull because Christmas is like in a couple of weeks. And the next thing you know, we still got the event, the Canepa race down there at DuQuoin. We'll have that midget race. And then then we go right into the shootout. And we know, I haven't heard yet if like Larson last year, that was a big thing. Remember last year, the shootout was Larson and Bell coming back in, biggest crowd they ever had. And then we go, of course, into Chili Bowl, which Chili Bowl is almost already around close to 300 entries already.
Yep. And we got the Wild West Shootout.
The Wild West Shootout, and I heard more guys are going there this year than they've been in the past.
Ton of guys going to the Wild West. Now, they moved it from Vado, and now it's coming back to Arizona, and I know there's a lot of guys going. I mean, a ton. So there's going to be a lot of great racing once this stuff kicks off right away in January. I'll be super excited because I'll be at home with my new baby.
That's right.
With my feet up. So, checking all this out. But, yeah, I mean, there's whatever we call the off season anymore is not really.
There's not really. And last week, I don't know if you heard it too, folks, Jeff Hoker is a proud sponsor of our show, made some huge announcement in Iowa next year. I mean, massive. I mean, what, 20,000 to win, 2,000 to start seems like every night, like the mid-August, and leading into and some good racetracks.
Yes, yeah. No, it's gonna be really cool to hit some new tracks that are kind of bounced in there to kind of have its own almost Iowa Speed Week, and that's gonna be really cool. Jeff. Man, he just does so much for this sport, and he invests so much, just not just money, but time and effort and the things he puts together to give back to all of us. Man, he
listens to you guys too.
Oh man, he's the best, dude. I'm telling you, him and Penny and Michael and their whole group, I'm telling you, I think the world of them, and I mean, how you look at how many race cars he sponsors, the groups that he sponsors, and all those things. It's top notch, that's for sure.
I can't help but think about something. You're going to laugh at this. When Shannon Babb was talking about flow race at night.
Yeah,
man, come on, throw it out there. Yeah, we were laughing so hard. You run third to Concy. What do you get?
Yeah,
what do you get, Gordy?
A free pizza. You get a free pizza for third.
Shannon, man, dude, I'm telling you, had just about everybody in stitches last week, man. I've never laughed. All them guys, man. I'll tell you what. I've watching when JD turns his hat around backwards when Winger's talking. About pissed all over myself. All of them.
Oh God.
And
we had.
I still can't. I mean, in a way, closing our show down tonight, I just keep thinking, man, if you have not seen a lot of you should go back, and if you could watch 20 minutes of the podcast, go back, come back around. But last week's podcast, I still, man,
I think
the belly laughs last week were just they were stupid.
Yeah, I know it. And it was God, it was funny. And
Gordy's trying to keep like a serious face, trying to keep people on track and stuff. First of all, Chris Simpson shows up half lit.
Yeah, him and Hoker had been at the bar for a while.
They didn't even know they were coming on the show. We kind of like, hey, Chris, we got a spot for you.
Jesus. Yeah, I tell you what, it was. Hell, by the time we got done, I think everybody was pretty half lit. We were having some fun, and yeah, I tell you what, getting those guys' personalities out like that, you know, like I said, that is I would say 95% of the time when the cameras are off after the races, that is those guys, right? Like we laugh and we're all really good buddies, and we hang out, and it's just super funny. You take these guys from so many different walks of life, right? Like, I mean, you take Chris Simpson, he's from Iowa, and you take JD, he's from South Carolina, and you got Turbo from Texas, and you got Winger from Georgia, and Nick's, out in North Carolina right now, I'm here, and you got Hoker from Iowa, and you shove all these guys in together. There's probably a 35-year age gap right there, and yet we're sitting there laughing like we're 18-year-old best friends in the basement at 3 a.m. It just it's so fun, and like you said earlier, I just appreciate those guys coming on there and doing that with us.
The mic drops too. I mean, how many times we had to look over? Poor Abby and Jeff, man, poor Jeff over here is like, oh, God damn it again.
Yeah, Yeah, one thing Jeff told us before is don't fling it. Winger gets it, gone. Didn't take no time. Yeah, and then freaking Clyde shows up and snags my mic, and then when he gets done, I just realized he did this because I happened to look down, but when he threw the mic back at me, I tried to catch it. He air humped like 3 foot from the side of my head. So Clyde's getting a nut tap the next time he does some shit like that, I promise you. But yeah, no, overall it was a great weekend. at the Dome. It was a
same dates next year.
It's the exact same weekend. Yep, exact same weekend.
First weekend of December, man, game on. It's going to be bigger and.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a year away, and I know we need to kind of settle down a little bit, but man, it's going to be another epic week.
Yes. Yep. No, it will be. Yeah.
And, but that kind of sums up our show a little bit. Also, Tyler Courtney's.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going. Yeah. Shout out to Tyler Courtney. We're headed to his wedding this weekend. So congrats, Tyler. Can't wait to celebrate with you. Tell you what, that's the best part. So his wedding is up in Knoxville this weekend. We're picking up Hoffman and his wife Lacey are flying in Friday night. I don't know who else is all going to be there. I'm sure it'll be a cast of characters.
Yeah, that'd be a good time. You definitely need to get some footage for the Dirt Parlor.
I don't think there'll be any footage July. We got the wedding. They have a reception and we have an after party Saturday night at Dingus in December. So, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, Tyler and Asia, obviously, just getting to celebrate them is going to be really cool. I've gotten to be pretty good buddies with Tyler over the years.
Great car owners.
Yeah, and so it's going to be, it'll be a lot of fun to go celebrate them. And you guys have one more weekend of fun, and then Christmas, then hell, it'll be New Year's. So, I just like I said, last weekend was an awesome weekend for the Dirt Parlor, for racing, for all the fans, and I'm already excited to get back there next year.
All right. Well, I'm going to let Gordy kind of sign off tonight, and we'll catch you folks next week. Thank you for everything and all the support.
Yep. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube, and we'll have a couple good shows to round up 2025 here, and I'm sure a lot of cool, exciting news for you guys as well at home leading into 2026.